Welcome to Sound Values, powered in part by LSA Burger and Classic of Denton.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in live tonight right here on DentonRadio.com. We are in the beautiful Discover Denton Welcome Center on the ever rainy and cloudy springy day Denton Square right now. Folks, I am sitting right here with the man, the myth, the wondrous traveler, Garrett Phelps right here. What's up, man? How you doing tonight? Hey, man, like we were just talking before the show came on, it was really cool for you to message me and say, hey, can I come on the show? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Not realizing that I was like, I've actually never heard any of this music before, so I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. So I actually asked a few buddies, kind of like at the Bearded Monk and some friends. I was like, I know I've seen Garrett around. We've talked and all that stuff, we shoot the shoot and all that fun. And they're like, oh, no, music's good, man. Like, his music's solid. I was like, okay, cool. But then as time went on, I was like, wait, I still haven't heard his music. So when I got home on lunch break today, I was like, hey, send me some tunes, man. I want to hear. But I loved it, man. Pearl Snap shirts, which, I can see.
Got to represent
the shirt right now. Yeah, man. That music was great. And then was it the Tiny Couch or Little
Tiny Couch?
Yeah, the Tiny Couch session from 2017, man. I mean, those 4 years, a big difference right there in sound, man. But the first question I got to ask you, man, because like I said, it's in this day and age, for me at least, it is hard to find singer-songwriters that I enjoy. I'm not saying that they're not out there. I'm not saying there's not good singer-songwriters out there. It's just hard for me to find music that kind of I hear and I'm immediately like, yes, I want to listen to this. I spent my 45 minutes of lunch just sitting and listening to that Tiny Couch. I really liked it all, man. And it made me want to go and listen to the other guys. I was like, oh, hey, if this guy's on here, this is good music, man. So what I have to ask for the first question that I like to ask a lot of people is, what is your first musical memory? The first time maybe you either saw a musician or heard music and it made you say, like, this is something I want to do. It could be like I was 5 years old and I saw Garth Brooks and I was like, this is amazing.
Well, it's a loaded thing because my dad's an upright bass player.
Okay.
He makes his living as a jazz musician, as does my brother. But my brother knew before I did that he wanted to be a musician. I spent a lot of time saying, I don't think I really want to do that. You see you see what musician life is. You see the hustle of gigs. It's not a paycheck to paycheck in the average sense life. So it took some time, but when I decided, it was actually, I don't remember if it was, I might have been 12 years old, and I was hanging out with Brent Bess one day from Slobberbone. And he was like,
yeah.
I mean, you think you want to write some songs? And I was like, well, it seems like it'd be fun. He's like, well, then do it for fun. Then, yeah, that's exactly why you should do it. And so it turned into, like, well, if it's fun, then why don't I just do this for, like, what I want, how I want to live my life.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's like, it's a weird type of a thing. Yeah. Like, for many years, it was just, I don't want to do this. But one day, simple conversation. I think it started with BB guns.
Nice.
I think the conversation went BB guns, songwriting.
And so how old were y'all?
I think I was 12. I don't know how old he was. I don't know how much of a senior to me he is.
Okay.
He is very crucial in the songwriter Garrett Phelps.
Yeah. So when you were like growing up in the house, your dad being an upright bass player, there's probably a lot of jazz, obviously, maybe played in the house? Or
almost exclusively.
Exclusively? Cool.
Almost.
What was the stuff that was not exclusive to jazz that was being played in the Phelps household?
Oh, definitely like between soul funk, like Parliament type stuff, and Allman Brothers.
Nice.
And also classical music, just because the vocabulary of jazz and classical are so... It's a study type of. There's an academic approach.
Yeah, for
that they
sure,
all decided to take.
Yeah, but it's glad to hear that the upright bass jazz musician is listening to the soul and the funk like Parliament and.
Oh yeah, and Dad is also
responsible
for my introduction to Townes Van Zandt.
Nice, man. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, there was one day he just came off the road from a gig and he was like, "I thought you might like this," and he had Live at the Quarter Horse.
Oh, nice. So your dad traveled as a musician.
Quite a bit.
What's that like growing up with like see, my dad was, like if my dad was home at 6 o'clock, it was because of traffic.
Right.
So what's that like with a father who's traveling around?
It's different. It definitely changes the family dynamic. There are stresses, but it's a lot different. We have a totally different family dynamic. As Mom is totally the rock. Mom is not exactly a 9-to-5er, but she has what most folks would call a regular job.
Yeah.
And so it's been kind of this thing of like, dad is like almost the stay-at-home wife, but he leaves at night to go gig, or we'll be gone for days at a time while mom is there for days at a time.
That's
it's
awesome.
a cool thing though. Of
Yeah,
like, responsibilities and trust is like a whole open dialogues all the time because where are you gonna be?
Yeah. So Papa was almost a Rolling Stone.
Almost
Yeah,
at times.
Yeah.
At times, I mean, he definitely
cool,
had
man.
consistent gigs here that would just be like, well, he'll be there in the morning, but there were times when it was like weeks at a time.
So
which is cool.
Yeah. So your brother's your older brother.
Yes.
Right. Okay, and so one of my older brother when I would drive around in the car with him when I was younger, I'm about 5.5, almost 6 years younger than my older brother. He was always playing like Bone Thugs and Harmony, and all the rap that and all the hip hop.
That was
stuff.
me, and he was more on this whole other wave of rock music, jazz, rock jazz.
Yeah, okay.
As an electric bass player, he was very into Jocko, and so that sends you into a whole. The fusion thing is a very
Man, I was gonna play the Luck of the Monk at Luck of the Monk, and I started trying to look up like Celtic jazz, and I found myself in a rabbit hole that I never thought. I was like, these are combinations of styles.
Oh
like,
yeah,
I'm not sure.
when you get country specific with jazz, it's always fun. I spent like years on this Ethiopian jazz kick.
Really?
There's just
all
a
right,
bunch.
I gotta write that down.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's some great. I can't remember what the anthology is that got me started on it. But
So, so we get to the 12-year-old Garrett. You starting to kind of think about writing songs. Did you like play in any bands in high school, or did you have some buddies that you started with, or you just kind of writing music?
At that age, I had a small little trusted group of like, let's play music. But then it was a couple years before because then I was just kind of lone wolf with. They were all into this weird pop music that I just wasn't about, and so. I just started playing way more guitar. I was really playing a lot of electric bass at that time.
Okay.
When I first started, but then it was like, well, I'm going to play guitar too, just because. Why not?
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a little more relatable. You can kind of playing chords and playing chord changes are a little different.
Yeah.
And so it turned into this thing, and it was a few years before it was like, oh wait, I've just got an arsenal. For the time being, at least, it seemed like an arsenal. Now it feels like I don't have enough songs, but at the time I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then I met Joe. We were in high school together.
Okay.
And we had been in school before, but we weren't as close as we were when we met back in high school. And it was like, oh, you write songs and play guitar. I write songs and play guitar. And we were kind of inseparable for many years. Sometimes we still are. But, we're just getting older, and time is fleeting type of a thing.
I mean, man, just like two of my buddies, they share a birthday, and we all went to high school together. A bunch of the high school friends, we always get together for this birthday. And at my buddy's house, there's guitar, bass, and drums. And so, the jam sessions happened 13 years later all over.
Oh yeah,
again.
I mean that's the thing. It's a very timeless thing. I should probably hit him up when I'm out of here and just be like, hey, I know you're not working tomorrow. We should just get together on guitars.
Would you say that Joe is kind of that person who you kind of sat down and you could work really well together?
Right away? Yeah. And I think there was definitely the social outcast factor in high school is
okay.
Well, it's just such a weird thing because it hits everybody experiences it no matter what kind of sect of that you fall into, and it's
definitely
everybody has that isolationist thing, and which is probably just between the hormones and the whole
growing up
experiences
thing
you've never had.
Inevitable.
Exactly. But definitely found just this very strong sense between us, and it kind of threw us into all this other stuff. Banter was pretty crucial in all of that, which I'm sure probably everybody in here who's a singer-songwriter says about banter being like one of the cool bedrocks of getting out and meeting more people and actually making it like, oh wait, are we actually resonating with people?
Yeah.
That's okay. I guess we're doing the right thing, and being able to explore and get criticism. And so, we did that for a few years, and then I started playing more guitar. We both just started doing that. We started playing guitar with just whoever the hell wanted to play guitar. Because it was like, oh, we need a lead guitar player. It's like, well, I don't really do that, but
Sure.
Yeah, I know your music, and so I think I can do what you're asking me to do.
Yeah,
and it turned into, which my whole thing, I started playing bass originally, and so it went right back into, well, if you really, okay, you need a bass player.
Yeah,
and so
bass player and the drummer were always the hardest things to find.
oh yeah, as a bass, as part of what I do now is bass playing, a lot of more upright now, but it's a thing,
Yeah.
I've been
so
thinking,
so can you read music?
sometimes
Okay.
it depends on how fast you need me to do it.
Okay.
It's
All
like
right.
sight
Yeah.
reading, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
But that's some of the best guidelines you'll ever have. I mean, you can't get clearer than a piece written on a staff.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate when people need that because
Yeah.
that means they really want something.
Yeah,
that's
for
specific.
sure. Yeah. So did you grow up in Denton?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, very cool.
This
See,
is the
I
hometown.
I moved here, and it was unfortunate. I never got to go to Banter. I moved here, and then like 3-4 months later, Banter was closed.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's just one of those spots that like
It was sudden.
if you don't know Denton, it was very sudden. If you didn't, I didn't even know where the library was at UNT, and I was going to the school. I was like, where am I going? So I didn't even know, and then it closed down, and my buddy Matt Grigsby, he kind of told me, he's like, this place closed down, and then you had like J&J's go away for a little while, and other spots people were like, what is happening? Yeah, and I found it cool. So did growing up here, Banter was kind of a place for you as a teenager to play music. Last night, we went down to J&J's just to check it out, and it was a high school show, and we loved it. And like me and my buddies would have stayed, but there was no gradient of age leading up to us. It was parents and high school kids.
Yep.
And we were like, man,
Why are we here?
Kind of want to stay just to enjoy this and like support the high school,
be so
but
weird.
we're the weird guys down here right
Yeah.
now, so we went back up.
We're the guys that everybody's looking at. Like,
Yeah.
what are they doing here?
So throughout like going to high school and stuff like that, did you play any other kind of shows or formulate a band or anything?
Well, like our first show was at J&J's.
Nice.
That was our first
what
playing
did you,
out
what did you
ever.
guys go by? Did you have a band
Pearl
name?
Snap shirts.
Oh,
We-
okay.
We made the decision
Yeah.
before. We had another band name idea, but it was just too.
What was the
original band name was going to be the Randy Bakers, which was a riff on a friend of ours.
Yeah,
name.
Randy Baker.
He's a sweetheart. And we were hanging out one day, and I was like, what if we use your name? He was like, that's cool. But then we were like, that might be rude after a while.
yeah. All of a sudden, he's that guy cursed. He's just
Yeah.
like,
And
can't
so
even
it
go to
was
a
like,
show
well,
anymore.
Pearl Snap shirts. That sounds fun. And it was like, well, Empire Records, the whole thing.
Oh,
if you want it
okay.
to stick in their minds, you gotta spell it weird. So we
Yeah.
made it PURL.
Yeah,
Snap shirts.
Yeah, what's funny is when when I was typing it in like Pearl Snap just into my notes, I was like, I spelled that wrong. I was
Right.
like, oh wait, I go back and it's
That's
PURL. And so was it just kind of like you just enjoyed the way the name sounded, or
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
and it's also,
I mean, like
when I was younger, I took this trip to California. My brother went to school out there, and I took this trip out there. We're at this house party that, to me, being like 16 and being at this house party in just outside of LA, like
Oh
in the
my
mountains, it
gosh.
was like, what is this? This is so surreal. And
Yeah.
I get into this conversation, and this guy just goes, look, man, I have the highest respect for anybody who wears a Pearl Snap shirt, and that just stuck with me. And I said that to Joe, and he was like, that's the band name.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, yeah, we're texting. And
yeah,
like,
man. If only this guy knew. If only this.
Yeah,
guy
I don't
knew.
even remember his name.
Yeah, if only he knew that this like that quote right there would just spark this, man.
I don't think anybody knew.
The house party in LA is what leads to the Pearl Snap shirts.
That's part of it.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So, did you go to school for music or anything like that?
No. Totally unacademic. I mean, it's hard to say that just because I grew up in a musical household. And there were things where it's just like, the way you're doing, you can't not get caught practicing in a musical household. If someone hears something that they're like, oh, wait a minute, I think I can give you the piece of information you're missing there. So there's a lot of, I never sought it out necessarily, but just because of situation, it was available.
Yeah.
Certain information.
Very cool, man.
Now, I didn't seek out much of it because I found that a lot of people that really, really spend their time, they're kind of hard to play with, kind of bitter sometimes, just
Yeah.
because it can make you jaded. Anytime
Yeah.
you spend a lot of time on certain types of information, it will
Yeah, definitely.
It'll make you think about it a little differently. And
Yeah,
so
for
I've kind
sure.
of slowly been digesting a lot of those pieces.
Yeah,
but-
you gotta take time away from performing in order to make it
Yeah.
fun again and get those nerves and that scaredness and and then some people who study it so readily, like I've talked to guys who went to school for it and and they're like sometimes you study it to the point where it's just like it all of a sudden becomes work and it's not fun anymore.
Right,
It's
well,
like
yeah.
doing math problems over and
the
over
number
and
of
over.
guys that I know, guys and girls, that have been, they got their degree. They got into the gig circuit. They were
Yeah.
making a living, and they were just like, you know what? This isn't what I actually wanted to do. This is just what I have to do because these are the skills that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the thing of like, I don't necessarily want to do that.
Yeah.
Even if I wind up in the same place eventually, it's like I don't want to go thousands and thousands of dollars in debt
Yeah.
to get to that point. And many
Totally,
of my
man.
peers have told me, like, well, if you don't want to do it, then that's actually kind of smart. I wish I'd thought about it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I had a lot of people ask me like, "Why don't you go to school for music?" And I was like, "Well, it's just always been something I've wanted to. I've always loved doing it, and I've learned just via kind of watching, YouTube videos on here's how you play this, or you talking to my friends who are really good at it, and having those people show me this and that. But I also understood I was like making a legitimate living in the music industry is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, well, and that was, I remember when I first started, and Mom was like, "Now, are you sure you want to do this? Like, you've watched your whole life how difficult this thing is. Are you sure you want to do this?"
Yeah. Yes.
I'm still not really sure, but here I am.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing.
Exactly. We're here. We're talking guitars in hand. I think decisions have kind of been made at this point, man.
Yeah,
They've kind of been made. All right, so you're playing music, you're learning about music. So what was kind of like the ages like 18 and above like for you as far as music went? Did you do any traveling or go see bands
Not
or part of
specifically.
it?
I got to see some cool stuff in those years. I mean, the specifics. So I was working at Dan's for a number of years.
Nice.
I worked
cool.
door there, and that was really. I got to see so much stuff that I can't even remember sometimes. It's like someone will tell me about a show that was like, "Remember that show 6 years ago?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I think I was working that night," but I never realized who that was until like years later. Of like, "Oh wow, they're nationally touring now."
Is that that's almost kind of like the jadedness of the sound guy in a way? You get so used to
Totally.
doing it or running door or whatever. That you're just
Totally.
like, it's another night,
Right. Well, and on one hand, it's really cool to have that insight of
Yeah.
like it's just another night because
Yeah.
in showbiz, it's showbiz, baby. There's no.
yeah, it's just another night. This is what we do.
But at the same time, you get to see, just another night is like one of the coolest things you've seen that you'll remember for the rest of your life, and it
just
may
go
never
ahead and
happen.
Just write a song called "Just Another Night," man. It's just
Hold on. You got me on it.
I'm like,
I got
should-
my notepad.
yeah, I'm like, are
it's in the
we gonna do a
jacket.
songwriting live right here?
I'm serious. That's a really good idea. I've
Yeah,
been
just-
trying to
just-
figure out how can we inspire more songwriting.
Just another night. Yeah. So do you? So you worked at Dan's, which is cool. Did you work with old? Man, why am I having a blank?
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So let me tell you about my one experience with Jimmy ever. I worked with Jimmy
I
on
love a
his
Jimmy story.
very last night.
Oh
there.
gosh, that's awesome.
That's the first time he ever met me. It was the first time, and like I know the stories.
Sure.
And so like
but you probably got to catch
for me,
the
it was
biggest
just a
sweetheart version of Jimmy.
It was like a yes sir, no sir, but and he was super nice and super cool to me and everything. But when he approached, he was like, "What do you need?" And I was like, 2 DIs. He was like, "Is that it?" "Yes sir." "Yes sir."
Perfect.
"Yes sir." "Perfect." Good to go. And then he was like, "I've put a limiter on you on my mixer, so you can't go any louder than a certain thing." I was like, "Okay, that's cool, man. I don't need to go any louder." Like,
you got to
but-
do that sometimes.
yeah, but he was. It was just there was such
Well,
a
the build-up.
built up respect for that man already as soon as he
Totally.
walked up to me, And I run sound amateurly from time to time at places. It doesn't sound terrible, but I'm not like that guy, and I'm not like some of the other guys over at Andy's who I've talked to or Drannon or any of those guys who really have this stuff.
Well, it's
settled
different when
down.
you have a room that you see all the time, and
Yeah.
you can move. That's like running this open mic at Midway Craft House. It's an interesting
Yeah.
room to run sound in.
Yeah.
But you get to play with their specific factors that you're like, well, I know that this works. What about this? And you kind of push or
Yep.
don't push or have to accommodate for something that is already pushing.
Yeah.
It is an exact science, but it's not an exact science. It changes so often.
Yeah, man. I've played it. I played it Midway like a year ago, and I just had a blast, man. It was me and my buddies chilling in a convenience store with some good beer over there in the corner, just hanging out playing. I mean, and they won, best, non-venue, whatever you want to call it. And shout out, to I think Raheem. Yeah, shout out to that guy. He's such a friendly dude.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
So nice. And like when I was leaving that night, he was like, "Hey," I was like, "What's up?" And he just goes in the register and gives me $20. I had I didn't have any intentions or any expectation of getting paid for this. It was a fun thing, man. Like,
totally.
I like your business, and you guys are cool to me, and who knows? And he was like, "Boom, there you go." So he's good people, man.
They're working to make the right type of stuff happen here.
Yeah. So you're running that open mic over there.
Yeah.
Cool,
Almost
man.
2 years now.
Nice. Very cool. So how'd you kind of get that going? How does somebody wants to get an open mic night going? What did you kind of see that led you to having this open mic night?
Well, that venue had been open for a while. And actually it was kind of a thing of just, I knew who was running their open mic before, and one day he just kind of disappeared from town. And so we just had a little dialogue about, what does that mean to you to have your open mic? And it was just kind of like, we made a little bit of a negotiation business-wise, and it was just like, okay, this is what we're doing now. And so as time has gone on, we've adjusted the format slightly, changed hours a couple times, but it's been pretty much consistently for the longest period of time. It's been 9 to 11.
Yeah, so you saw an opportunity to help curate this.
Yeah, well, and
jumped on it.
Raheem kind of reached out to me too of just is this a thing you'd be willing to entertain? And I was just like, he caught me right before I was about to hit the road. I was doing this West Coast adventure, which was cool to come back and have it be like, cool, I run an open mic now. Raheem's really cool. He's definitely cultivated part of where I'm at now.
That's what's up, man.
Just stepping out and being.
It's cool, man. It's good to do fun things for fun, nice people. That's what it's all about, man. That's why I do some of the stuff that I do.
I'd rather work with sweethearts than jerks.
Absolutely. Nobody wants to help a jerk follow their dreams. I mean, no one wants to help you out, buddy. I'm sorry.
Depending on who you ask.
In a way, you're right. Some of them get there. So, man, we've kind of talked about, living in Denton and all that kind of stuff and playing music. We talked Ethiopian jazz. Your dad being an upright bass musician.
Hold on, I think just want to shout out. I think that's Curtis McMurtry right there.
Oh yeah, Curtis.
James McMurtry's
I don't know
son.
if Curtis can hear us, but
no, he can't. But
if so, shout out to Curtis. All right, walking by with a huge stack of pizzas is what that looked like there, man. So you sent me that music today, man. So let's kind of talk the music that I've heard, going from Pearl Snap shirts to the videos on the tiny couches you sent me. I loved them both, and I saw similarities in both. But it was as far as the maturity of sound, Pearl Snap to me was a bit more angsty, and then the stuff that you sent me now was almost kind of reflective in a way, and a bit more thought provoking. But the one thing that I noticed was, or that I personally liked about your project, what am I looking for?
Tiny Couch.
Yes.
Although I just call it the solo.
Yeah, the solo project. I just really enjoyed the songwriting and the lyrics and the way that you blended the guitar with the lyrics. Everything goes well. The rhythms were on point. Like I said, I sat there for 45 minutes before I had to head back to work for my hour lunch break and listened to all of it.
Nobody says that type of stuff.
No, because I liked it. As somebody who berates people to, hey, listen to this music, let me know what you think. I do that all the time with people. So it's important to listen to people's music, especially especially when I'm going to talk to you. That is you expressing yourself in that purest of light. Whether you are writing a song about someone you knew, about yourself and experience, or just kind of coming up with this idea that you think would be cool to write about. So how has your music changed and grown because there was 4 years in between, Pearl Snap was 2013 and what you just sent me was 2017. So how is there a growth and change as far as being a musician and a songwriter?
Well, there were other bands.
Okay.
There were definitely other bands within there. There were, I think, four or five other bands and other songwriters. As a bass player, who's a singer-songwriter, it turned into a thing for a while of just, hey, what are you doing? I've got this gig. Can you come play bass with me? You know my songs.
Yeah.
let's do this.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so
let's
it's just
jam.
like, so that look at, the outside, the sideman perspective on songwriting definitely kind of pushed me into this, as you say, reflective, because it's interesting with the songwriter community. We're all very, very different people, but also we're doing pretty much the same thing. There's only so many chord changes. There's only so many places you can put the capo.
Was it like Dylan was like every song's been written?
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, not to rip off the cliche, but totally.
Yeah,
Everybody's
yeah,
already
yeah.
done anything that we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And so just looking at it from a new perspective, with already existing vantage points built in, the jazz thing. Yeah, it turned it into this thing of like, how does the music need to break and not just move around depending on how it needs to feel, but not necessarily needs to. It's just how does it want to? How's it gonna? Yeah.
So do you feel like is the music? I don't know. Do you feel like you drive the music, or does the music drive you?
If I try to drive the music, I shouldn't be in the front.
I
should be.
I like that. Don't put this man behind the wheel.
Yeah, I'll be your brake and your engine for that. I love playing bass.
Yeah.
For people. It's one of my favorite roles in a musical context, and it's a very just outside think about, put the pieces together and make it move.
There,
But when it comes to crafting, it's like a thing of I like to think of myself as a conduit.
Okay.
More than than the push.
Yeah. So it's almost like I think what was it, like Da Vinci, who was like, Michelangelo was always there. I just had to chip away at the parts that weren't.
Right.
So it's like the music is there. It just needs some way to express itself. Which is something that, as far as like art, music, film, any of that go, or paintings, drawing, all that kind of stuff, what I've always loved about it is that you can put it in all different, metaphors, but it's a blank canvas. When you wake up in the morning, nobody told you to write a song. Nobody told you to paint that picture. Nobody said draw this. You just did it. And so that is one thing that I love about musicians, singer-songwriters, bands, all that stuff, is that you have this thing inside you that has the want to create and to connect with other people via those creations, because unfortunately not everybody has the ability to express themselves as creatively or as successfully in front of a crowd as we would all like. And so we rely on those people, kind of like we talked about earlier with the public speaking thing. We rely on the people who can do that to help express the way we're feeling. And that's why when you're in a crowd of 10,000 people singing along with this one guy on stage, it's this incredible moment of connectivity that is really, really hard to describe to people who are not there at the show.
Oh yeah. It's hard to describe in any manner of it, and it changes from audience to audience. Sometimes you hit and sometimes you just don't.
I've definitely had those moments where I'm like, oh man, this is not.
But that's
not
part of
the
why
best.
I stopped writing set lists a long time ago.
Okay.
Is because it's like sometimes sometimes how I thought this room was going to be is not what this room is today.
So what do? You kind of like, you have your arsenal in your head, and
I kind of have a rough sketch
Okay.
of thematic. There's things I am gonna. These are the things that my music is about.
Okay.
Now there are high points and low points, and where those need to be. That's really the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Is where those spikes and dips.
Are you, when spikes and dips, just as far as in like life and the things that are going on, the good times and the bad must be spoke of, man.
Oh yeah, you gotta
for
have
sure.
the sunshine and the clouds. It's like Old Yeller.
Yeah. So like I want to get back to the tiny couch performance once again.
The period.
Yeah, I loved that music, man. Like I'm saying, I really did enjoy it. I think it's going to be, like I was saying, it's hard for me, maybe not everybody else, but it's hard for me to find the singer-songwriter type music that I like. And I felt like your voice speaks very real to me, and the messages that you were putting forth in the music, I really enjoyed those as well. I felt like at times I was like, okay, there's some metaphors in here, there's some upfront stuff, but the hard thing, and this is just me, is I get caught up and I just end up enjoying all the sounds and stuff that's going on within the music, and I sometimes can miss the message of the lyrics that are going on because I'm just listening to how does this all sound all combined together.
Right.
So, as you've gotten older, how has your writing style changed, or your message or what you're trying to express in your songs? Has that changed at all from the younger years?
Ish. You know, I don't think I'm as blunt as I used to be. There are songs that I wrote a long time ago that I just don't play now. Not because I don't think they're good. It's just there's some things that there are certain messages that people, you know, angsty, like you said,
Yeah.
with some of the earlier stuff. It's like, you know, that kind of shaking nervousness about what does this mean isn't necessarily what I want to present anymore.
Yeah.
Type of a thing. And that took a number of just changes through being bass player or guitar player for other songwriters, and you know, I still play bass with people, of course, but it's just the thing of what are we trying to, how are we trying to make people feel? And really, as much as I love to challenge people's you know, listening, not ability, but I like to put people's kind of, you got to think about, I want people to think. I want it to be thought-provoking.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
not so thought-provoking that it's aggressive.
You know,
Which is a very common thing I see with a lot of my songwriting
You don't want that person to be
friends.
like, what in the world is he talking about?
Yeah, it's like, why are you talking about that?
It was,
that's so crass.
There was that movie Walk Hard where
Oh man, I just watched that.
Dewey's like he's like, and the three-eyed toad monkey with hit it bits in the coliseum. And
Oh
like
man,
playing.
you know, I look back at other songwriters and I'm just like, how did you get away with this? Like, how did you say
and
that?
one of the characters is like, what is this song about? You know, it's like you can get deep, but if you go too deep, you're gonna lose the audience.
There's
within
definitely
it.
some what are you trying to say?
Yeah.
You know. But I try to keep everything in kind of a middle ground of like, let's get back to a very relatable, tangible thing that is related to this kind of esoteric metaphor. But
so what are the things that inspire you to write? What makes you say, I'm going to write this or I'm going to write that? And what is it that keeps you writing music for so long?
that is a shifting.
Yeah.
That is a very shifting thing.
Okay.
You know, as I'm sure, like you said, the angsty songwriting from my youth is definitely driven by different things that I'm driven by now. I actually don't write as much as I used to. It's a lot more sporadic than it's ever been.
Okay.
I don't want to go as far as to say writer's block, but I try to use when I'm not writing to build up just the musicianship side.
Okay.
Whether it's working on my voice, working on my playing, on bass or guitar, either way, it's just like, let me take this time to not stop being creative, but understand more about what's happening, you know, learning more songs. Don't forget to practice. It's like, okay, if this isn't a day to write, then this is a day to just craft in a different way. Just hammer at, you know.
Yeah, there are days when I'll sit at my keys and I'll be like, awful. Like, I'm not trying to.
We're just going to play Bach today.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh, goodness, if only. But it's like, you know, like you're saying, you kind of got to sit down and maybe not write, but just play. You know, play, and through that just playing, all of a sudden you might find something that you really like. You might write a progression or find a new chord or a new slide or just something or a new tuning.
Well, and playing with other people who are also constantly dealing with the same thing of you can't always be on. You know, I do have friends that write songs every day or whatever. You know, they're so prideful about this humongous body of work that they have. But it's like, yeah, but how many of those songs do you actually like to play live?
Yeah.
Know? I see you play them at an open mic and then never touch it again.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like,
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean,
and it's almost I equate it to like you know, McDonald's versus like making a meal that you want to make.
Yeah, I can understand that for sure, man, for sure. So now, what is some of the music that you are listening to? You know, because like I said, I really like the music that you're making, that you're writing. So what's some stuff that I can go and listen to kind of get an idea of where your inspirations are coming from, if you don't mind?
One of the newest artists I came across that really has been kind of poking at me. Have y'all heard this girl, Stella Donnelly?
I
think that's her name. Australian girl. I hope I'm saying that right. It might be Doherty, but I'm pretty sure it's Stella Donnelly. Yeah.
Okay.
She's really cool. Actually, a friend of someone my brother went to school with was opening for her on last night. Yeah, they're doing LA stuff. Drummer, went singer-songwriter.
Oh,
Tim,
no.
yeah, this guy Tim Carr.
Bassist goes singer-songwriter.
Yeah, drummer, singer-songwriter. Yeah, Tim Carr. He's really cool. He
All
was.
right.
I met him when I was younger, and he kind of gave me some very specific, like, check this out with the guitar.
Oh,
And,
okay.
well, and it also came out of us talking about Radiohead and their songwriting style, which they'll always, I don't listen to that. I kind of try to keep them as like a, when you like something a lot and you don't want to wear it out. I keep them in that spectrum of like,
Yeah.
I love them. I'll always fall back on like, this is part of my writing style,
Yeah,
but
man.
I don't want to listen to that all the time because I'm gonna get so sick of it, just like I
Yeah.
will with even my own songs. I get sick.
Man, I feel you on that. As far as your own songs, I've performed and I've been like, I think it was October of this year. I played 14 shows that month, and
Oh,
it was
brutal.
like, and it wasn't just like all my music. It was like DJ gigs here,
Yeah,
and then my gigs here, and then
Yeah.
like some wedding gigs here. But I was so sick of me as like a
As the focal point.
as a person, or just like as like a.
Oh, that's brutal.
I was like, yeah, we've been hanging out with me
Welcome
for
to
too
the performer
much.
lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. But
Now, putting yourself on is a very like it's
Yeah.
demanding. You've
It's-
got to have this weird sense of ego and no ego.
I know, man. And
At
I've
the
had
same
people ask me,
time.
they're like, how do you do it? I'm like, it really is. So I tell them you have to have the business side and the performer side. Business side, you can have a bit of an ego. Performance side, you need to get up there and do a really good job after you've had that little bit of an ego. Because if
Yeah.
you don't have a little bit of an ego, then people are probably going to give you the chance.
You're just
you know?
you're gonna get just
Yeah.
washed into.
Like I can say right now, I have bugged people to the point where it's like, okay, we either have to give them a chance or just tell them to never talk to us again.
Oh.
And then I'm given the chance, I do a good job, and they're like, yo, you got to come back. Let's have you back next month. It's like,
Right.
okay, cool.
Well, and that's another. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah, sometimes you have to just bug someone.
Yeah, you
Like,
have to hear
just
no as in
bug and
next.
bug and
No,
bug.
okay, I'll ask the next person.
And
Yeah.
It's like, well, what's your calendar look like here?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
for
even
sure.
think that far in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then you start because
Yeah.
it's survival, baby.
Well, man, we've talked so much about the music. I really kind of want to hear some music.
Okay.
If you wouldn't mind. And
Okay.
do you have I know you don't come in with set lists like you said. So
I've got a
is
rough
there,
idea
Is there a
of how I
song that you're
wanna-
going to play for us
I'm
tonight?
gonna play. If it's just one, I don't know how many I've got, but it's probably gonna just be one.
Yeah, we could do one or two if you want to, man.
One or two?
Yeah, one or two.
I'll go. I'm gonna play this song called "The Same" first.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a track right here by Garrett Phelps. This track is called The Same right here on DentonRadio.com. Y'all stay tuned and enjoy. We're going to get the live performance going now here. Take it away, buddy.
Is it all good? All right.
Yeah.
Put your head inside your hand. No, I do not understand. Drink the water from the glass. Give it time and time will pass. Dirty picture, pretty frame. No, I do not know the name. Put your head inside your head. What I got from you instead. The same as it's always been, in and out of oxygen. The same as it's always been, even though it's different for you. Every coin from every purse, getting better, getting worse. Rhythm, melody, and verse. Keep it simple, keep it terse. See us sleeping as a joke. Fix a piece for pieces broke. put the number on your mind. What I thought you left behind. The same as it's always been, in and out of oxygen. The same as it's always been, even though it's different for you.
Yeah, man. That was awesome, dude. Yeah, really good. I do want to get one more song from you if you've got one more, just because I'm enjoying the jams.
Let me grab a capo.
Yeah, man. So I really got to ask you, because I was kind of just writing down some of the lyrics as you were saying them. So the song is called The Same.
Yeah.
And so it goes, the same as it's always been, in and out of oxygen. So is that kind of a reference to, as in, like, whatever it is that you're talking about
this
is
body
as
thing we drive around.
Okay. All right, cool. Because at first I was like, okay, is he talking about a relationship and it's the same as it's always been, just like breathing? You know, like it's in and out of oxygen, the same as it's always been. You know, like this is just, it's always the same.
This
thing
makes me
that
think about
happens.
this conversation I got in with Tony Ferraro one time.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, whatever you want to think my song is about, you should think my song is about. But I do like to like say, no, we operate this machine.
Yeah.
All the emotional content is not necessarily the same, but at the end of the day,
I got it, man. No, that's awesome.
breathe in, breathe out.
Yeah, I like it, man. So let's get another song going,
All right,
man.
this one's called Work.
Okay, Work. Awesome, man. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got Garrett Phelps right here with the track Work on DentonRadio.com.
Unknown deadlines on the walls. Springy, wintry summer falls. It's just like every other, moving fast, you can't take cover. I'll suck this cancer down in just 1 minute. But can I put it out and not forget it? Can I adapt so fast to make this dying body last? Another season gone to change, another medium for range. With thoughts and rhythms, harmonies within your schisms, memories like broken glass, good and bad both come to pass. See the space within the cracks, lose the race to burn like wax. Memories will fade like ink, waves of time will make you think. Squeaky wheel gets one more squeeze and drops the beat off in the breeze, making plays and making movements, hitting tracks of foreign hoofprints. You're no better than the best. Learn to listen like the rest. Communicate with thoughts and rhythms, harmonies within your schisms, memories like broken glass. Good and bad both come to pass. See the space within the cracks, lose the race to burn like wax. Memories will fade like ink, waves of time will make you think.
I tell you what, okay, that guitar is awesome. I literally wrote, I love that guitar, epic, right from the beginning. So you had the lyric that says, moving fast, can't take cover, and then you kind of do like the hammer-ons, hammer on and off right there with the guitar, and I wrote the guitar right after that. That is awesome, man. And then I love the waves of time will make you think. You know, I've been experiencing that a lot lately as I've gotten older, reflecting back on things too, man, and how much I'm like, man, 30 years from now when I'm 60, like, what am I going to be thinking about, you know?
It's funny you bring it like that because it's like I just ran into Jeff Barnes.
Yeah.
He was out for just a brief minute, and we got to talking because I've known him since I was a little boy. And we just got to talking, but he was like, you know, the temporal arts. Which I was like, what do you mean? And I just made the joke. You mean like tempura? and it was funny, but he was like, no, like tempo, like that's, you know, temporal.
Yeah.
And it's the whole, because I was like, what came first, the song or the dance? And it's all about the type of thinking that is all about the passing of time. Is,
yeah, man.
You know, that's what we're absorbed in when we do this stuff.
That's great. Like I said, man, I'm very happy that I got to hear your music because it's something that I'm going to listen to in my personal time as well.
Well, bring it to someone's table.
Yeah,
too,
yeah. I can guarantee you that. I'll do whatever I can.
I've been told it's great to give a massage to.
All right. Yes. All right. Cool. I'm sure the lady will appreciate that.
I've got some massage therapist friends that are like, yeah, this has become a part of like my regimen.
Awesome. Oh man. Well, we don't have a lot of time left here, man. We got a couple more minutes, dude. I loved the music. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Garrett Phelps on the show tonight, killing it, man. I've loved it. But the last question that I've got to leave you with is the most important one of the night, and that is, what is your favorite snack?
Oh man. That is also like it's a very
big question.
Fruit.
Yeah, okay, fruit.
Simple. I'll leave it simple. Fruit,
yes.
Preferably citrus. Again, body is
That's what I like to hear.
It's all about the body response.
And then one more question before we go. Where can people find your music or see you live?
Seeing me live is an easy one. Every Wednesday night, I'm at Midway Craft House doing the open mic.
Very cool.
And if you got anything to bring to the table, we're always
including a massage table.
I mean, really, if that's what you want to perform, it's a performance venue.
It is an open mic.
Comedy,
literally.
Poetry, music.
That's awesome, man.
And to find me, yeah, I've got the YouTube. If you search me on YouTube, there's a couple things. My brother put up some stuff from when I was much younger.
Okay.
And yeah, I think you can find some house shows of me on there still. It's been a little bit since I've sifted through what comes up.
Yeah.
I think those might only come up as Pearl Snap shirts. But that's Pearl Snap shirts Bandcamp. PearlSnapshirts.bandcamp.com.
Okay.
I think is what it is.
Yeah.
I think that's how they do that.
Awesome.
And yeah, Tiny Couch Sessions, which I'm in the middle of. Bob's got a crazy schedule.
Yeah.
He's a teacher too, so.
Yeah, well, like I said, man, that music was awesome. I really enjoyed it,
man.
and the sound quality was awesome too. So if Bob's
really
running,
does.
you let Bob know,
Well,
great work.
He's part of why banter was such a cool thing.
Nice, man, very cool. Well, Once again, man, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. Yeah, like, this is where that hour flies by and you wish you had 2 hours to talk to somebody,
Well, so, it's not like I'm not going to see you out in the world.
Yeah, exactly. We'll speak again.
Yeah.
Once again, y'all, Garrett Phelps right here on Sound Values, DentonRadio.com. We've got Ellie Bell and the Denton Vibe up next. Y'all tune in next week. We're going to kick it a little bit more, all right? I will see y'all sooner than later right here on DentonRadio.com. Peace out, y'all.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out DentonRadio.com for new Denton artists and where they're playing next. While you're surfing the internet, make sure you check out our friends Classic of Denton at ClassicofDenton.com.